3, 2, 1.
My name is Binti ROSLI. My number matrix is H20A1903. I will present part A, question 1. Our group has chosen labor force by age in Pahang, 1982 until 2019. The data set we have taken is 15 data sets. To determine the data arrangement for this labor force by age group, I have taken the class number for K is 6. This is because if we try to take the class number is 5, it is not enough. That will be below 15 data set. So we take number 6 so that the class number K becomes more than 15. In conclusion, the number of classes is 6. Next, in the data sets, the maximum number is 132.5, while the minimum set number is 39.4. So to determine class width is the maximum entry minus the minimum entry divide by the number of classes and get the number. In total, class width is 16. This is how to get the data arrangement for labor force by age in Pahang from 1982 until...
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nursyuhada Binti OTHMAN and my matric numbers is H20A1946. I'm going to present about graphical method. As we know, graphing is a common way to visualize, illustrate the relationship in data business statistics. The objective of a graph is to show data that is too diverse or complicated and represent in text and in less space. So our data is in two different types of graph, which is histogram and OGIF. Firstly, histogram shows 6 different type of class, with every class is 17 and same goes to OGIF. So the next part is, if we want to find the midpoint to construct the histogram and OGIF, midpoint can be present from lower boundaries and upper boundaries and divide by 2. After that, frequency refer to the portion of percentage of the data that fall in the class. To find the relative frequency of a class, divide the frequency by the sample size. Meanwhile, the cumulative frequency of a class is the sum of the frequency for all class and previous class. And that's all from me. Thank you.
HASHIMAH Binti GHANI, number matrix H20A1522. I will continue the question of number 3. A measure of central tendency is a single value that attempts to describe a set of data by identifying the central position within that set of data. The measure of central tendency has 3, which is mean, median, and mode. Mean is the average of data set. The formula of mean is sigma frequency divide number of entries in the sample. Solution is 2529.84 divide 50 equally 50.60. Next, median is the middle of the set of numbers. Formula of median is lower class boundary of median class plus number of entries in the sample divide 2 minus cumulative frequency before median class, then divide frequency of the class median multiply by class size. Solution is 72.9 plus 50 divide 2 minus 33, then divide 4 and multiply by 17 equally 38.9. Last mode is the most common number in a data set. Formula mode is lower class boundary of the model class plus the difference between frequency of model class and the frequency of the class before model class divide the frequency of the class before model class. plus the difference between frequency of model class and the frequency of the class after model class multiplied by class size. And the solution is 72.9 plus 17 divide 4 minus 21 and plus 4 minus 2 multiplied by 17 equally 53.63.
Name is Nursyuhada Binti OTHMAN. My number matrix H20B1T39. Point to measures of variations. The measure of variations is a measure of central tendency is some parameters obtained to describe the amount of variation between random variable. In the measure of variation have a three parameter was always used, such as range, variance, and standard deviation. Range used to find a difference between maximum and minimum data entry in the set. The formula measure range: maximum data entry minus minimum data entry. Solution: 132.5939.2 equals answer is 93.3. Therefore, the range of the current labor file by age group in Pahang is about 93.3. Look at on the screen. Variance, the formula of variance. D is a formula of variance. F is mean frequency of class. X midpoint of class. And number of interest and simple. There is the table, the current labor force by group in Pahang 1982 until 2019. The answer for variance 694.62. Next, standard deviation. To find standard deviation, D is formula of the standard deviation. Solution: S equal 694.62 square.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nursyuhada Binti Md.Shaharon and my metric number is H20B1900. I will explain part measure of positions. Measure of positions is the positions of a single value in relation to others value in a sample of the data set. The measurement of positions must be sorted from the lowest to the highest of data. The formula for quarter 1 is L plus N over 4 minus F all over F times C. Step 1 is find the location of Q1. So Q1 equal N divide 4, so then N equal 50 divide 4. The total is 12.5. Step 2 is find the value Q1. LQ1 is 56.4 minus 0.5 equal 55.9. F is 12, FQ1 is 21 and C is 16. So we calculate use to the formula Q1 is the answer for quarter 1 is 246.78. The formula for quarter 3 is L plus 3 N over 4 minus F all over FQ3 times C. So LQ3 is 90.4 minus 0.5, we get 89.9. F is 37 and FQ3 is equal to, so the last is C equal 16. We calculate use the formula and get the answer for Q3 is 393.9. For the last, inter-quarter range being equal to the value of the first quarter, subtract from the value of the third quarter. So Q3 is 393.9 minus Q1 246.78. The total inter-quarter range is 147.12.
Okay, we move for the shape of data distribution. The mean is 50.60, median 38.9 and mode is 53.63. This shows mean greater than median and median less than mode, so that it is skewed to the left. Okay, next we move to the part B. Data is a term that describes observations and measurements have been gathered in some way, mostly research. Quantitative data is data that is recorded as numbers that measures quantities, and qualitative data is data that is recorded as text records attributes. Quantitative data is qualitative data that records characteristics in terms of multiple categories rather than data that records qualities in terms of ideas, feelings, and opinions that can be analyzed using statistics. From the question 1, we can look a researcher want to see if there was a relationship between age and body mass index BMI of people in the world. A total of 30 people were randomly selected from the BMI list for the recent year. Their age range is from 21 years old to 59 years old. So we can see from the data they have different numbers of BMI according to their age. The data given we got from the research get information according to age and body mass index.
Going to present number 2, part B. The data set consists of n more than 100, then selected random such as n not greater than 100, but n must be at least 30. So for the example, n equal to 35. So the data set n is 30.
You how to calculate manually the correlation coefficient between two variables. I explain you to all right now. This table contains the columns x, y, and product x, y, and y square followed by y square. For example, in columns in the table we have number 37, 24, 27, 21. In columns y have number 31.9, 37.9. 22.7. Next, we multiply 37 and 31.9 and get the answer 1180.3 for columns xy. For columns x square, 1369 because 37 square, and y square is 1017.61 because 31.9 square. After that, we get the total every numbers in columns. Right now, we will use the formula which information we have. So the correlation coefficient of which in some equation is represented by the Greek symbol rho. It's equal to n times the sum of xy minus the sum of x times sum of y divided by the square root and inside the square root. And it's going to be n times sum of square values minus the sum of values, but we are going y square, that so be careful which that difference, and then it's going to be n times the sum of the y square minus the sum of the y values and then square. After that we plug in information into the formula and get the answer is equal to 0.
I will present for part B question number 4. Develop the estimate regression equation and then interpret the regression equation. To calculate the estimate regression equation in statistics, an equation is constructed to model the relationship between dependent and independent variables. So the sum of the count I have been able to 25.15 to estimate the regression equation for age and body index BMI. In addition, to interpret the regression equation on all age and body index BMI of people must represent the estimate increase in Y per unit increase in X. So for the slope get 0.067. Then for a constant the sum is 25.15. When the age is 0, the number of BMI is 25.15.